Hello, and let's jump into what is cash stuffing? What is this all about? How can this help me? Let's do that. We're going to start right here. Modern cash stuffing. Modern cash stuffing. How to use the modern twist on a classic budgeting method. Okay. Basically, this is very much a new twist on something very old, but we are going to start with showing you how we used to do this. So we're going to go back in time. Ooh. Okay, we're back in time. All right, what used to happen was after you did your work, what have you, you would go to the bank and they would give you, you could get your money out that you had made. And of course, everything was done in cash back in the day, back in the olden days. So you get your cash. You'd take this home, and then you would usually get out something like envelopes. And you would lay out your envelopes. And then you would decide out of your cash, you would figure out how you were going to divide this. So you would say your rent, maybe that was going to be the bulk of it, so you would set that aside. And then you would go and you would, when you went to pay your rent, you would take that with you. Or for groceries, you would say you're going to put $50 in groceries. You would put this in here and then take this with you to the grocery store. Then you would pay. And then to track, to keep an eye on your budget, you would basically, when you ran out of money in your envelope, you were done for that category for until your next paycheck. And one of the things people would often do is they would write down when they, for instance, went to the grocery store, how much they spent, keep track of how much they have left. And then at the end of the month or at the end of the pay period or whatever, whenever that worked out, they could go in here and they could say, okay, let's move that aside. I have this conveyor belt of stuff all ready to go through. So at the end of the month, you'd say, okay, I have got $33 left in here for I did not spend on groceries. So then you would have this money. You could either keep it in this envelope and use it next month, or you could decide, all right, then every pay period, whatever I don't use, I will put into savings. And then you would just do this every pay period, and your bills would get paid. You would have a limit on how much you could spend in each category, but it helps keep you, even now, it helps keep you within that, because you think, all right, I've got this amount left. What can wait? What can't? And if I really need something and there isn't enough in a category for it, I could pull money out of savings. So that was how it was done for pretty much since they invented envelopes. I mean, this is kind of how it was done. So with that, we got to the 21st century and people are doing all kinds of electronic budgeting, using apps and all of this kind of thing. And then by about almost a quarter of the way into the century, a lot of people who had embraced the technology and all of that decided, you know what, this isn't entirely working for me. My brain doesn't quite work this way. So what they did was, it basically started becoming too hard to do everything in cash. But they thought, hang on a second. Let's see what we can do here. So what they did was, move this back over here for just a minute. They decided to start going to a new version of old school. Now, I'm going to show you the most common way this is done now. lot of people do is they will take these modern binders, and I've put on here what size these are. These are the two most common size binders that people who cache stuff tend to use. This is a bit more common than that, but basically when you get this, you can buy these for budgeting. So you get the case, and then when you open it up, it comes with a few envelopes. These are plastic envelopes. So it'll come with that. And then quite often these say some budget sheets. So you could write down in the way that you wrote down, you tracked things in the back of your envelope. You could just write them down here, and you could add this to the binder. And then what you would do is you would put those envelopes into here, or you put those envelopes into here, still doing everything in past tense. You put these envelopes in here, and you treat them just like you would an envelope there, almost as if, where did I leave it? I even put holes in this one to show you. So these are just like the envelopes. And as a matter of fact, some people still use envelopes. You don't have to get these binders. You could still use plain envelopes, or you could get an inexpensive binder like these and just punch holes, and you could use that, for example. But a lot of people, they'll use these plastic sleeves that come in these. And then as far as for the different categories, these come with budget sheets, but they also come with a handful of ideas for categories you could use. So you pick one, and then you can peel this off and put it on the envelope, and then treat it exactly the way that you treated these. When you get your money for the month or whatnot, you separate the amount into the different categories that you need. All right. So that's how you do that. Now you can use most people, they'll just use the envelopes that came. These kinds of envelopes these are called zippers. And I say it because you can get zippered and zipperless envelopes, or sleeves, as they're often called. So most people will use these. However, there is a limit on how many of these you can fit in a binder, and I'll be showing you later my own main binder that I really should split into two. But you can see how much more I fit in by using something else. But this is what you generally get. And then these are, if there are categories here that aren't here, you can use these and just put them on there and write down what you need. All right. So if you buy a set, you'll get 6 sleeves and 6 sleeves, some category stickers, some blank stickers, and some budget sheets. And you can add to that as you go. Most people end up having more than one binder, but you got to start somewhere. All right. Now, you don't have to use the stickers. Let's see here. I think I did. Yeah, here's one I put together earlier. So you could put your income there, track it, your amount, your groceries, write it down, this kind of thing. So one of the things this will do for you is that you can carry this like a wallet, or some people do a smaller version. They'll do the A7, because the higher the number, the smaller. So the A7 is that much smaller. And in that one, people will use real cash and they'll fold it in half to make it fit in the sleeves. But the other thing that you can do once you have these is you can start doing savings challenges. And I'll show you some more later where I say, okay, every time I can save $5, I will put $5 in here. And then you would mark off $5 until you had saved up $200. And this is just a sheet in here that I printed out. But you mark that off, and then when you've filled it out, you have savings, $200 saved. So it's a good way to save up money, but this also gives you a visual on how much progress you're making. And that can make a huge difference, just as something as simple as this. So, all right. Now, there's some people who, for some reason, they're not a big fan of the A6. And like I said, this is just something I put on here. It doesn't usually say. It doesn't have a sticker on it or post-it. This is usually what you'll see. All right, but some people really prefer the A5. And generally what you will find is with the A5 is that people will put multiple categories instead of having different categories in its own sleeve. In this case, because I didn't have one, I actually took dividers that were in here and I just put washi tape down the side to make the kind of sleeves you'll often see people use when they use these A5 binders. And so what they do is you can reach in here and you'll find that you do this, you treat it like an envelope, but they like having these separate so that you put money here for household and then you put money here for pets, etc. And then have multiple of these larger sleeves and they separate things out. And it's really whatever you prefer. Some people really prefer to do it this way, but if you happen to see other cash stuffing videos and they're using this, I thought you might want to have a better understanding about what's going on. So the next question becomes, wait a second, it's a modern world. Okay, here. What is a modern world though? What if I don't want to use real cash? I mean, everything I do is digital. So what do you do then? Well, to do the cash stuffing, frankly, even if you just write down what you're doing, that will help you. But what some people do is they will use placeholders or just flat up fake cash. And that is what I do, for example. So let me move these out of the way. All right, here's one I made earlier. This needs to be split up, but I specifically get other sleeves. I like these clear vinyl sleeves, but I understand why some people don't, because they do tend to get sticky. You get the noise. Yeah. But I make these inserts and I also make this paper on the back. So in there, I know what I've spent money on, and then in the dining out category, and then I have, here it says I should have $90 set aside for the budget. So then I have my $90. And this is not real. This is for motion picture purposes or whatever else. It'll say sort of like that. Motion pictures, motion picture purposes. And then I put tape on the bills. It helps me separate them out because the paper obviously isn't as thick as real cash. But you don't have to do any of that. Some people You could, if you wanted to, print and cut out a bunch of this, or for pretty inexpensively, you can buy sets of these kind of fake bills. But this helps me in that I know I have $90. So when I go to spend money, I just have a look in my binder for under that category. And if I'm going to be spending $50, then I know I have it, but then also once I've spent it, I can take that and put it back into the bank, as it were. And just even if it's not real, just having that and saying, okay, I just spent $50, it makes it more real. So, and then that leaves me with 40. I write it down, put this back in here. And then at the end of the month, if I had extra, I could perhaps put it into savings or whatnot. All right. Should we put this back because I haven't spent this? Okay. So that is how I normally do. These are my categories here. Basic ones, and then household. There are all kinds of different categories that you can use. It's entirely up to you. And you can make doing this as complicated, as simple or complicated as you want. I'm just going to show you quickly my A6 savings binder. Sorry about the glare. And in here, these are separate so that, again, with the savings challenges, like saving up to go to the dentist, each one of these is worth $25. And so as I save up there, then I just fill that out. And it really does add up. Here's health savings, where I've got things set up with little apples. You can see every $50. And then, of course, obviously that's not real. And that's one of the things. It can be useful to have this fake money. Sorry, the cat's playing in the background, being a cutie. The savings challenges really do help. This one's a little hard to see, actually. I'll just show you this quickly. The Meowtical Savings Fund, and these are actually, it's kind of hard to see, but these are actually little cats in boxes. And why are they different colors? Because I felt like it. No reason. And so I have this amount saved up and this money is sitting in savings. And that's one of the reasons. There are a couple of reasons to use fake money. One of them is just so the spending money is more real to you, but also you can continue to get interest on this money as it's sitting in your accounts, and safety, because there's no cashier. I mean, there is no point in breaking into my house. There is no cashier, nothing. But is there fake cash? Because I knew I wanted to start a channel on this, and because I wanted to help my mom start doing this, I got several sets of fake cash, and I actually took the time to put washi tape on them. But you do not have to do this. This is just me being me. And then if you're lucky, over time, you will have use for these bigger denominations. And these are just images I found online. These I bought. These I just printed out on a slightly thick paper. So if I have any use for $500 bills, these are just really bad copies of bills that are completely out of circulation. These haven't been used for, in some cases, decades. You will see various people use different kinds of placeholders. They'll make them out of plastic. They'll make them look like cash. It just varies. And then if you're really lucky and you really save your pennies, you can get to the big denominations, of which I just have a few and I'm not using. But yeah. And then this is to dream. This is from the 30s. These were bills. They're basically gold certificate bills, but these were only used between banks back in the 30s. So anyway, all right. So by working out your categories, working out what categories work best for you, you can end up with a budget that really helps you be able to save money, set aside money for important things. Like I'm saving up for probably a future vet bill that will come up, or going to see the dentist, or whatnot. And there are all kinds of categories you can choose. If you're wondering where the covers came from, I actually took one of these clear vinyl, and I cut off the part that has you use the holes, and I just glued it to the front of this A6 binder. So that's just me. That's just me. That is not required. So choose the categories, make a list of your bills, but also think about annual bills. Setting aside. I very much set aside money. Like this is a regular grocery. These are for just going out and buying groceries. But I have an Instacart annual fee that I pay. So I have set aside $9 every month. And I can even write down how much should be in here every month, just to keep track of it. And then I know when it's due. And when it comes time to pay this bill, whatever this amount is, when it's paid on my credit card or comes out of my checking account, then I can just go in, take this out, return this money to the quote unquote bank, and then start over. And I make sure that I know exactly how much I have in total in all of these, and that's I have at least that much in my checking account at any one time. And that way I don't blow my budget. I don't get overdraft fees, knock on wood. And it just takes a weight off my mind. And I know I'm working toward things that make me feel better, knowing that I've got money set aside for the vet, I'm setting aside money to go to the dentist, to get new glasses, or whatever it is. So that is that, using the savings challenges and being consistent. Right here. Keeping to a budget makes the most of your money. It's amazing the amount of stress it takes off your mind. Savings do add up, and yeah, it is kind of fun. I mean, I do a lot of graphic stuff, but even if you just wanted to do it the old-fashioned way, and with fake money or real money, or partially, maybe you want to use real money for groceries, but say your rent, you're just going to mark down how much you need, make sure you have this amount in your checking account or whatnot. You can do half and half, whatever works best for you. So I hope that was helpful, and let me know if you have any questions. All right, thank you for watching, and I will see you very soon.